perfect for me. Distance is not a problem. Life is open to us. Lovely girl, she is very different. Lovely girl, everything is changing. She look at me so gently each and every day. She has the gift of making me smile. We are always together. We will make it through. We are making our own path. Trusting each other. Trusting each other.
Another magnificent program of distinction by that master hand, that connoisseur and dilettante, that untiring seeker of new talent, Sylvester Macaroni, who again with his keen perception has unearthed in you find a great discovery, that brilliant virtuoso and genius of the symphony, Maestro Michel Maus, who is to be our guest conductor for this evening. Now the maestro is approaching the podium. He raises his baton, and we hear. He raises his baton, and we hear.
Alright, what's up everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Yavin based stream. My name is Endless. We're here rocking you with the finals of the Yavin based Team League Season 4. This is going to be a killer match between Stevens of the basic Bespin Biths and Finn of the German Cantina Gang. Are you ready for this? This is going to be Stevens with basically a post-RRG Rex and ARC Troopers list versus Finn for the German Cantina Gang, going up with his 15-point bid, Iden Versio triple ISF list. All the ISFs rocking offensive push, one of them even rocking Ascension cables. But yes, this is going to be Yavin based Team League Season 4, brought to you by the 5th Trooper, Evergreen Benefit League, and 6-Up Supply. We'll be with you in just a few seconds as we get this match underway. Alright, well here we are everybody on Bespin City Gardens. It is, as I mentioned earlier, Finn representing German Cantina Band against Stevens from the basic Bespin Biths. Let's go into a quick breakdown of both players' lists, starting with Finn as the blue player with a 15-point bid. Let's roll as these players get into deployment. We've got Iden Versio heading up the list for Stevens. Her loadout including upgrades like Tenacity, Offensive Push, Environmental Gear, and Situational Awareness. Recon Intel, the only gear upgrade she's bringing. I really dig this Iden. I think Tenacity and Situational Awareness are probably the #1 upgrades for her. Offensive Push, still really good because you get that extra aim for Marksman. She doesn't have Tactical baked in like Cassian does. So it's really important, I think, for her to be able to get that extra aim token. But Tenacity makes her melee so much more threatening, taking her from 2 red to 3 red, and she's also got her Seeker Droid, which gives her an additional 3 white dice in melee, and all of that is surging to hit. So if she gets that Iden Droid, or Iden Seeker into melee with Tenacity active, she has a very threatening dice pool in melee at that point. No Pierce, of course, but still pretty competent. Maybe not as threatening against clones because they have such a high save. But you even got the Seeker Droid here loaded out with either a comm relay or a comm jammer. I kind of dig the Seeker with jammer. Jammer it can be so surprising, and jammer is especially good, I think, against clones because denying orders to clones makes them really sad. They don't get the benefits of aggressive tactics. They don't get the face up to do fire support with. There's a lot of good play around the comms jammer here, so I prefer that comms jammer. I also like an HQ uplink on there sometimes, especially if I'm running alongside Veers, because it gives Imperial Discipline that much more value. But we'll see what Stevens decides to do when Iden does deploy. He doesn't have to declare his loadout on Iden until she deploys. So that will be really interesting to see when that occurs. But until then, let's talk about the rest of this list. You've got a setup here at Shore Troopers, including 1 Naked Shore, enabling a 3rd mortar, so 6 core units here. 1 T-21 has been dropped. The T-21 recently got a price increase with the latest rules reference. It went from 32 to 35 points, so it got increased pretty heavily. So this configuration is now 4 points more expensive. Or sorry, 6 points more expensive. And if you want to run Shores and ISF and take upgrades on your ISF, oh, sorry, did I call Finn Stevens? I think I called Finn Stevens, my bad. This is actually Finn's list, I'm sorry. Finn, my word. Starting things off strong here today on Yavin base. We'll try to pick that up as we go further in. But yes, this is Finn playing Imperial, not Stevens. So you got 6 core units here. You've also got 3 ISF. with their Special Forces Trooper T-21s, and all of them with offensive push. Those of you who are familiar with Iden know she has a 3-pip called Tactical Strike, and with Tactical Strike, everybody has to slow down, but they get steady and they get tactical, or an additional point of tactical when they move. So you basically have a situation where you can either peekaboo and offensive push with 2 aims. That means pop out from behind like a line of sight blocker like this. You just move out, shoot downrange, and then move back and remain in hiding. Or you can start far back and then take 2 moves and then offensive push on one of those moves and shoot with 3 aims. So there's just a lot of like alpha potential coming off of this list. You also have 2 of the recon intel, so they can move after they infiltrate and get closer to something if they really want to. You've also got 1 here with ascension cables, which could be interesting. There's some decent places to go vertical on this map, especially these walls. You could go vertical and stand on top of them. You could try to go vertical on top of these houses. There's lots of play here with ascension cables, so that should be pretty interesting when we get right down to it. I'm really hoping that Finn and Stevens here, they're very competent players. I hope they're able to bring us a good game. It is intercept the transmission, so it is a battle over the center, and the condition is fortified position. So you see both players creating that defensive cordon with their additional barricades. You've got 1 here for Finn protecting his intercept point, 2, or sorry, these are Stevens barricades. You've got 1 here for Stevens. You've got him with 2 in the middle. Both players have opted for 2 in the middle. Both players have also opted for 2 on the side. And that's really kind of cool. Stevens covered this entire area, making it impossible to traverse without slowing down. So that should help protect his flank pretty well. Able to get heavy cover as long as he stands in this area of the board. He's able to get cover from basically all sides, except for this one coming through here. But this should be a really interesting setup here that Stevens has created. We see him dropping some Phase 2 troopers behind this wall. He also has a Phase 1, and this is the first ARC trooper infiltrating way back, or not infiltrating, but deploying way back. He is really trying to be conservative with his strike teams. It's very possible that ISF, when they infiltrate and move in, can just pick an ISF off immediately, or pick a ARC trooper off immediately. So that's going to be really important for Stevens to protect his strike teams. Let's talk about the list that Stevens is running today. He's running Captain Rex with aggressive tactics and recon intel. Very strong piece, Captain Rex. Still, I think, central to a lot of clone builds. Clones were hit the hardest by the RRG. Standby sharing was ultimately removed, and so the Rex ARC Trooper lists that were taking Overwatch have basically been destroyed. They have to find something new to do. And so I think a lot of these lists are either going all in on offense and spamming offensive push, or going all in on defense and taking dodge tokens. And we can see that Stevens has opted for kind of a mix of both. He's got 1 Phase 2 equipped with 5s for an extra order and offensive push, but he's also got 2 full arcs, 1 with Echo. They both have targeting scopes, and they both have situational awareness. So he's going for the crit canceling dodges on his most valuable squads, which makes a lot of sense. Let's say a Rex takes a dodge, then the ARC Troopers could use it. They'll probably be in range to distribute those dodges out. You've also got 2 Z6 clones in here. Echo also extremely good on arcs because of reliable. Normally ARC Troopers don't have reliable. They need to be fed by Phase 2s or by Rex with aggressive tactics. No jetpack on Rex, interestingly enough. I like the jetpack on Rex because it keeps you from being engaged. But I think in this particular matchup, Rex probably isn't that much in danger. These armies basically are all in on shooting. They have no like really clear melee pieces. Though I say that, yet the ARC Troopers melee is pretty stiff. It's red. It's black-white in melee, and they can be fed fire support in melee by Captain Rex off his 1 pip. So there is some strong melee in a list like this. I think it's really cool. Stevens playing 9 activations here. Overall activation counts have been going down for Gar just because of the points changes. Both arcs and Phase 2s went up in points. They're still really excellent, but being able to take arcs and phase 2s and getting like 10 or 11 activations while having R2-3PO for secret mission. It was just too much, I think. Just way too much. Yeah, no problem, Flash, my pleasure. And yeah, it's totally like not as cheesy as you would think, right? Alright, so Finn going for kind of an aggressive deployment here, getting his shore troopers and mortars up the board. I wonder if he is just going to infiltrate over this direction and try to create a flank. Probably the best thing he could do is try to use the threat of infiltrate to push Stevens back and then dig in defensively on the center and make Stevens walk into him. Definitely think that's a smart call from Finn here. And Finn, with his choice of board edge, since he is the blue player, choosing this very large piece of line of sight blocking to position himself around. And it's also really interesting, Finn was able to kind of connect his 4 barricades with this system of barricades up here. So this is just one giant line of heavy cover stretching all the way across the map for Finn. He's definitely set up a battle line diagonal to the board. He is going to attempt to secure with his deployments here. Meanwhile, Stevens is feeling the pressure of this infiltration. Wow, he's got R2 and 3PO very far in the back. I wonder if they'll even be able to score secret mission. But I suppose Stevens is trying to create a zone where the ISF can't effectively infiltrate. And then he wants to put his ARC troopers and Rex down. It's really possible, if ISF are well infiltrated and Tactical Strike is played, that ISF can just delete something immediately on like the first turn or so. It gets really tough to kind of manage if you don't deploy correctly. That is like forcing the ISF away from your most important pieces early on. Yeah, exactly, Raven Gear. I'm actually painting my ARC Troopers in Phase 2s now. Well, first, now that I own Phase 2s, because they got reprinted. Second of all, because I think they're actually fair now. I think they're much more fair than they were. I do think there's still a question about Fives, whether he's too good. Fives is extremely good piece for the points. But I definitely think, like, I'd be more comfortable taking clones to a game night. I think they're just a lot more fair than they used to be. It's a lot less negative to play against them. Standby sharing was just cancerous, for lack of a better word. It was really awful to play against and to play itself, because you just felt bad making your opponent, you know, choose horrible decisions. There was just no right play for your opponent to make. Like, everything your opponent did ultimately helped you. And that's not really a game at that point. Okay, we see our first set of ARC Troopers deploying. We've got Echo and his full squad of full ARC Troopers deploying into the center. Echo in position to do some sniping. That's definitely one of the Achilles heels of this list, is you've got mortars who can be killed quickly to reduce activation count. And shores are just Courage 1, and they have no support from Iden or anyone else. They are just on their own when it comes to facing suppression. So lists like this ISF list are seeking to make the absolute most out of Iden and the ISF, and hoping that the shores can kind of pull their own weight. There are quite a few of them, but there are only 2 T-21s on the board, and that's starting to get a little bit low in terms of the unit count. By contrast, Stormtroopers got numerous points adjustments, same with Snows. So now I think you can actually take a bevy of Storms and feel a lot better about it. Stormtroopers, you know, they're not the most offensively potent unit in the game, but, you know, they're kind of reliable. And when I say reliable, I mean they're sort of like you know, they'll stick around. They'll do some damage if you treat them right. They're not supposed to be like a mega powerful unit. They're just supposed to be kind of steady. They are cheap red save bodies, and that's really what the Empire does well. It used to be that Shore's offense was so crushing that you'd only want to take Shores, and you'd also get the benefit of having the Mortar as well for the activation padding. But I think now with the adjustments, it's really not a bad idea to look at taking Mass Storms again. And even more so, you've also got a cheaper DLT 19, and Empire continues to benefit from incidental impact. It always has, but vehicles kind of fell off hard once critical weapons were introduced. But like with the return of the Airspeeder and the emergence of the AAT, I think the DLT might have some play again. Alright, setup continuing here. We see Iden not infiltrating. At least that's what I'm seeing here. She has recon intel. She can just move up to be safe down here. So maybe the ISF are going to infiltrate in the southern part of the board and try to pressure the back objective. There is a gap here, a nice opening where the ISF can just shoot into light cover. Then again, maybe they don't necessarily care since crits just go through cover anyway. But we'll see what Finn has decided to do. His teammates have informed me that Finn is currently awake for 16 hours straight and kind of suffering from a little bit of sleep deprivation. Being dad, of course, takes its toll on you. For those dads in the chat, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So he came to this game a little bit exhausted. We'll see if it hinders him at all. Stevens expressed to me similarly a fear that that Finn would just crush him. Both players have massive respect for one another, so they have a healthy fear of each other's prowess. So this is likely to be a defensive game, I think. Nothing too wild happening, at least in the opening turns. We'll see what innovations they come up with as the deployment develops. Okay, Iden recon intel into a safe position. So now, if you're thinking about giving tactical strike to these ISF, now that Iden has been deployed, you can kind of judge how far the ISF will be deployed because you're looking at her range 3 band. The ISF need to deploy within range 3 of her so they can receive the order for tactical strike. They don't have any kind of uplink in the list at all. I do think Steven's back objective is under threat at this point because the ISF can deploy behind this plant divider and then move and shoot into the objective either across these barriers or through the light cover. Doesn't almost everything in Finn's list, in fact, yes, everything in Finn's list except for the mortars has recon intel, so it's a list that invested heavily in getting up the board and getting on position. That's really kind of important. There's an inherent advantage to being closer to your opponent when play begins because you don't have to move and shoot. Most armies would have to choose between moving and shooting, but the Shores can scoot up the board with recon intel and throw their mortars forward. Meanwhile, the ARC troopers have the tactical keyword baked in, so they don't have to make that choice. They're also courage 2, so one suppression will not shut them down. We see a full arc with a generic DC-15 now being deployed next to Echo. Captain Rex has not entered the battle just yet. I'm really curious to see what scouting party Stevens has in mind here. I forgot to mention that Rex does have the scouting party keyword, which allows Rex, after he makes his scout move, he can select 2 units near him to also perform that same scout move. So he's able to actually push clones up the board into different and better firing positions before the game starts. So it does save clones a little bit of points when you don't have to take recon intel on your squads, because Rex can just push them anyway. Yeah, this weekend is going to be full of games. Last night we saw Huntsman versus Talk Polite. Huntsman was playing his Boba and Operative Vader list, which did some really, really neat stuff with new ways to motivate them on Boba Fett. Boba Fett basically turning into a mini Darth Maul for a second, getting 3 actions to double move and claim a box on Recover the Supplies and run away with it after whipcording and winning priority against Darth Maul. But a clutch move shoot from an AAT brought low one of the sniper rifles on Huntsman's side of the board, and they were carrying a box, and so it created a situation where one of Huntsman's home objectives was neutralized, and so it ended up being a race for that upper box between Boba Fett and Darth Maul, a race which Darth Maul eventually won with the help of his dark droids equipped with a comms jammer. So a comms jammer saved the day for Darth Maul, enabling him to pick up that box with no interference. Not only did they jam Boba, they also engaged Boba, making things really difficult after Boba had already spent his whipcord against Darth Maul earlier in the game. So we saw Talk Polite's a little bit of benefit of experience there from Talk Polite, as well as just some shenanigans with that comms jammer. Made for a really fun game. Okay, the first unit of ISF has infiltrated. These red ISF do not have ascension cables, they have intel instead. But man, they are pushed up really far. They are ready to do some peekaboo sniping. This is definitely a great position for them to do the steady shots. They're going to get the steady keyword from Tactical Strike. And they're within range 3 of Iden, as you can see there, in order to get the order from her. I think Finn is preparing for turn 1 Tac Strike here. Really would not surprise me. This is a phase 2 unit now being deployed for Stevens with 5s. 5s is a pretty neat piece as well. 5s has the Coordinate Clone Trooper keyword. Now, those of you familiar with clones know that clones, generally speaking, have the fire support keyword. Both phase 1s and phase 2s can combine their shot. Like, at the cost of their activation, they can combine their guns with another unit. So 5s just turns that on all the time, even at the 1 pip level. As long as he gets an order, he can throw an additional order to a different unit. So 5s, sometimes you'll see 5s in like an ARC Trooper list because you're trying to enable a fire support with a lot of offensive modification. There's been not a little amount of debate about taking 5s in an ARC Trooper slot because of the sniper that you're leaving at home. I'm personally a fan of 5s in the phase 1 clone troopers with a clone specialist, because you get, not only do you get an additional body on that squad, you also get offensive push kind of just rolled in, because the specialist, you exhaust it to gain a token of your choosing, usually going to be an aim, because clones really benefit from aims. But we see 5s in yellow here. The clones balling up, kind of what you'd expect. Clones need to stay close for their token sharing to work. Hey, what's up, Night Goblin in the Major? Welcome, welcome. Yeah, that was exciting. If you're listening now and you haven't seen that VOD, I highly recommend watching it. It was a killer game. We also saw the field commander tank getting destroyed. The droids had a lot of panic problems. They had to run away really fast from Vader to keep themselves from getting killed. And in fact, we saw Talkpolite's box carriers being threatened by force choke and panic because of that lack of command bubble. So it was always like Talkpolite just had to keep himself one step ahead. Okay, now this brown ISF, kind of dark brown-red ISF number 11, these guys are also just recon intel, trying to infiltrate into firing range, perhaps, of one of these Phase 2s. I do wonder what unit Finn has his eye on to eliminate first, which one is targeted for elimination here, or is it just going to be a broad sweep? Just trying to weaken a few units and not going for one in particular. I think Stevens has deployed defensively extremely well. Of course, Stevens has to be careful, or sorry, not Stevens, Finn has to be careful of the recon intel scouting party from Rex, because once these ISF positions are revealed, now Rex can deploy and use scouting party to kind of counteract the infiltrate from the ISF. I am pretty sure it will, Krigar. Yeah, so those of you, some of you may not know this. So on our air recently, there was a match between Timbo and Bobette, AAT versus Saber, and Timbo just, not only did he deploy really well, he also rolled crazy hot and blew up the AAT and won that, and Maul in about 90 minutes. But recently, just today, Kingsley, who streams under Tower Number 9, broadcast Luke Cook, the world champion, who was playing in the ladder tournament, also a member of the Basic Biths, crushing a double airspeeder list just mercilessly. Two AATs were barraging the heck out of these T-47s. It was just unmerciful. I kind of joked with him afterward. I just said, you know, hey man, just roll crits, right? And that's kind of what happened. It was one of those situations where it's like, well, I rolled one crit, my cannon has impact 1. Oh, you failed 2 saves. Well, I'm going to do it again. Oh, you failed 2 more saves. And the AAT just barraged these airspeeders out of the sky. And it just became apparent that without the airspeeders, there was no, just no way forward for Pilot Paul in that game. Okay, Rex is going down. And there is just one more unit for Finn, and that is the Ascension Cable ISFs. Now, I think you can go on top of this divider, but it's difficult on the roof, if I'm not mistaken. So that could be a play here for Finn, would be dropping behind this divider and scaling up with his Ascension Cable. Okay, so this is something you don't really see often. So it would appear that Rex is using his scouting party to move these Phase 1s away from the ISF and get at least some of their miniatures hidden before they get alphaed off the board. Oh yeah, you know, you got a point. That cohesion's a little wonky.
shaking hands. I can barely stand. Did I do too much? Did I push you away? I was in a rush, I'm sorry. And I know that you'll forget. I wake up in the night in a cold sweat to face it. Is it over for us now before it began? I know it's crazy, but in my mind I had plans.
Okay, so white ISF. Okay, I figured he was going to pick one of these structures. Looks like he has picked the Bespin office building to scale up. It's pretty amazing the ISF have this whole position surrounded. So Finn just trying to get his cohesion right here. Oh yeah, so I see the issue. It's that these ARC troopers are just slightly away from Echo. And so this ARC trooper in particular is creating a no-go zone for infiltrate. And remember, these, instead of recon intel, this white base ISF has ascension cable, so it can't actually move forward. Yeah, that red band has to be off that ARC trooper's base. It just doesn't quite get there. He has to step back a little bit. Yeah, it's still not legal. He was actually able to get them off of that range 3 band. And I think they... Are they ruling it in contact or not? Oh, I see. Okay, he's trying to measure ID10's range so he knows where to drop his ISF so they can be inside of Iden's command range. So it's interesting. From ID10, you can still measure effects from ID10. So Iden's command radius does extend from where ID10's position is. Krugar says, this is the opposite of what happened when I played Stevens. He pushed all of his clones out to where those ISF were instead of a ton of standbys that just crashed my droids as they try to advance the same way he looks to. Yeah, it... I'm so glad standby sharing got taken out of the game. I mean, okay, not completely, because there's still Padme and Anakin, they can still do it, but it's a lot less, it makes the game a lot less, for lack of a better word, constipated. Because standby basically just shuts down everything you're trying to do, and you almost have no way to respond to it. It's such a relief, and I was really looking forward to playing Legion in person with some folks again this month. Unfortunately, because it's Christmas time, that's kind of been precluded. But of course, you know, Christmas is obviously great. Right, literally my best move is not to move. Yeah, exactly. Like that's the worst when it's like, well, I'm just gonna pass my activation. you know? But I'm not making any progress towards my objective, so it becomes like a zero-sum game, kind of. I don't know what the right metaphor is. Maybe race to the bottom. Okay, and I think with that, deployment is complete. Just a second here to do some really quick housekeeping. Alright, I'm going to take 30 seconds, and I'll be right back.
Seems like I've forgotten how to breathe. I am trapped in sin and I can't leave. Storm, bring it. Shock, this leave me when I say I know a broken heart. Leave me when I say I know a broken soul.
Alright, I'm back. So, Tactical Strike did come out turn 1. And it was being pitted off against Take That Clankers, so both players have played their big offensive cards early here. Let me change this music. Actually, I'm going to turn it off for just a second. It's kind of annoying, to be honest. No copyright sounds is awesome, but sometimes they're not all winners, you know? Okay, so with priority, Stevens is able to get a Clanker shot off before ISF are able to attack strike. So how is he going to gain an advantage here? He can Clanker at range 4 with his range 3 guns. He has a Shore Trooper unit fairly exposed. Could also be going for a mortar just to get it off the board. Also could be going for Iden to try to get a headshot on Iden Versio. A lot of things he could do here with this Echo Arc Trooper that is using Take That Clankers. Don't know what he's attacking just yet. But he could pick any of these targets in that field. He's pinging the Shore Troopers. Okay, I dig this. You want to get the Shore Troopers out as fast as possible. Maybe he's feeling you can't really do anything about the ISF. They're just gonna peekaboo me. I'm gonna have to just eat it on my saves. They don't pierce me. Maybe I'm not that afraid of them. But yeah, he's going for the shores and actually. Oh, are these shores in the open? Crazy. No, they won't be in the open because of that barricade there, I'm pretty sure. We'll see if they rule it open or not. There is a chance that this shore trooper right here isn't quite behind the barricade. But we'll see what they end up ruling here. But Stevens is gonna shoot with Clankers at range 3, or range 3 up to 4 because he has that aim token after moving. So this is Echo and 4 ARC troopers shooting at shore troopers. And a pretty decent-ish start. He's got an aim token that he can reroll or reroll with. Oh no, he spent that surge. What happened there? I don't understand this. This is why you don't mess with the dice, frankly. But he's got an aim with T-scopes. So will he spend it or will he keep it? Could also save that aim for later on a different squad. Looks like he's declining. Is he going to aim? Okay. Oh, what a shot. Okay, that's full boat. T-scope aim. 5 into the shores. And 2 dying. Did he spend the aim for lethal? No. So it's going to kill 2 shores on the opening volley. But what a conversion from Stevens. Converting 3 blanks into hit crit with that aim with targeting scopes. The power of targeting scopes on ARC troopers. Yeah, and Raven Gear, you're absolutely right. It definitely could have been worse. Welcome, by the way, to the stream. Welcome back, Oceanborn66. Okay, first ISF are rolling in for Tag Strike. I imagine they're going to go for this unactivated ARC Trooper. So red here is likely going to move, use offensive push for 2 aims and shoot. I don't think they can deny cover, but crits don't care. So denying cover is like, who cares? I just convert to critical hits because I have, not only do I have a critical 2 gun, I also have marksman to just add more crits. Right. I mean, the hope here is that the 3-up save. When I say 3-up, I mean red defense dice with surge. So for those of you less familiar with Warhammer, that term 3-up comes from Warhammer because Warhammer uses 6-sided dice for everything, and so a red dice with surge is equivalent to needing a 3 or higher. So that got shortened eventually to 3-up or 4-up. But let's find out if these ARC troopers can shrug off this attack. With offensive push, he can convert 2 additional crits. Yeah, so he pulls that second aim for O push, and here it comes. So ARC troopers have to defend. And he's going to unload with 5 crits? Is that what I'm saying? Or is he going to reroll and then... No, rerolling I think is wrong here. Oh, okay, not when you roll like that. Holy crud. Is that 8 dice in there? And these guys are out of cover? Yeah, because they're showing 3 without the benefit of the barricade, and Stevens is going to lose 3 ARC troopers to this shot. So, wow. Okay, so I want to point out what happened here. Normally, if those ISF are on the ground level, the bases of those arcs are covered by the top of the barricade. But the ISF poked onto this platform, and this platform had just enough height to get those bases of those ARC troopers away from the barricade. So if heavy cover was there, I would have converted for the crits, but instead of that, the ISF spent both their aims to make it 8 hits, and Stevens had to cop all of them. And even with a slightly above average save, it was not enough to stop these exposed ARC troopers from just getting killed before Clankers goes off. So Finn already generating a lead here with a good eye, finding that shot. Very good work on Finn's part, finding that shot in Stevens' lines. I did not see that shot myself. Really, really good work on Finn's part there. Okay, meanwhile, Captain Rex possibly going to be the first unit to respond. Of course, if he walks out here, another ISF is waiting. Yeah, losing. Oh my gosh, he also lost the DC-15. Oh man, things just go from bad to worse. Not only does he lose 3 troops, he also loses his DC-15 in the process. That stinks. Yeah, so Finn, the captain of the German Cantina Band, coming out swinging here in the first match of the finals against Stevens. It's actually captain versus captain, I forgot to mention. Captain versus captain in this matchup. A duel of generals. And ISF are ready to peekaboo once more. This time, they might be able to get a shot that strips a Phase 2 clone trooper of its Z6. So Finn just powerfully shooting in here. I don't know if he doesn't look like he can get to range of Brown off of that one move. He can't go faster because of the limitations of Tac Strike. So he'll have to settle for pink. Now pink, he could go for pink. He could also go for Rex. Rex took a dodge, but it's too little, too late. Those dodges would have worked against the Tac Strike crits if he had the dodge beforehand, but it's not enough. But definitely, Finn is looking for that Z6 in pink. He's trying to scope another heavy weapon. This is why I advocate, if you know you're setting up a unit and you know it's not going to shoot, just stuff the heavy weapon in a corner. Don't leave yourself vulnerable to this kind of play, this kind of shenanigans. He's trying to get vision on that Z6, and I don't know if he can get it. I think that Z6 might be fully hidden, but even so, he could have tucked it even closer to the wall. play a little eulogy for that arc. Remember that day when the ARC Troopers had 5 models? I remember. It's a kind of a soft memorial to those ARC Troopers that died. Okay, 2 crits going through. Definitely the opposite in terms of power of that first shot. Still able to remove 1 miniature though. And graze, you know, chop a little bit off that Z6, or off that Z6 Phase 2 squad. Yeah, definitely the opposite of a good shot. Yeah, the ISF did not have anywhere near as good an angle as that first one. But man, you would think he would have gotten covered from that barricade, but that little bit of extra height boosted him up over it, and that's always troublesome. You gotta keep that in mind, especially when you're facing ARC Troopers or ISF. They're able to make that kind of move. So Steven's definitely wounded here, though. The game is far from over. Now, with his remaining face-up squads, he's got Purple's pretty useless at this juncture. I do think that's a 5 squad with the other face-up token. But they're not going to be able to aim and shoot from that position for Clankers. Yeah, losing that DC-15. And Finn pointed that out to Stevens there. So I guess the good news is now that Tac Strike is over, there's a little bit more freedom of movement. The game becomes a little more normal. And these phase 1s can now just like move up and take their position. R2-D2 is still a factor in this game. It is major offensive though, so it might be tough to get R2 into the enemy deployment zone. It's roughly, yeah, so the deployment zone for Finn is roughly here. From here to here. Might be a pretty rough road there. Okay, Mortar opening up on orange, trying to get some chip wounds in. But suppression more importantly. But mortars have such value. Wow, Finn! Really rolling hot today. 3 crits off a mortar? Are you joking? Just burying Stevens and crits. And Stevens is going to lose an ARC Trooper to a mortar. How painful is that? Ouch. Thankfully, Echo has his own surge. Now, Deco, you do have a point. This ARC Trooper still has tactical, and it still can feed tokens, so you are correct. They're never completely useless since they can hand off actions to stronger units. Okay, wow. Fives put. Okay, I forgot that 5 says offensive push, so he is going to get a Clanker shot in here. He's going to move an O push, and then he'll have the face up that he needs for Clankers at range 4 against another unit. I wonder if he's going to target the same unit of Shore Troopers. He's going to need to cohere a unit sideways to the left of 5 to try to see around the corner. Unless he's going for the ISF over here. Interesting. I think I would have rather gone for the shore I already shot to try to weaken them further. Suppose he could also go for an unactivated mortar if he wants to. I think white ISF is... Wow, white ISF could actually finish off purple potentially. And if you fully eliminate an ARC Trooper squad on turn 1, you are feeling pretty good about your chances. Okay, 5's going for a mortar. He's powered up with a few aims from Rex and from that phase 1. So this is a clone shot here with 5s with 3 aim tokens potentially. Just leading off really well with 6 hits. He might actually not even spend an aim here. Looks like he actually will try to get that 7th hit in. Fails on the first aim. Spending 2 aims. Fails again. Oh man, I would have just left it. I don't think I would have even spent 1 aim on this shot. Then again, if you don't think you're going to get another shot this turn, you should just spend them all. So all 3 aims fail to convert, and the mortar almost gets a full save there, saving 3 out of 4, and will only take a single wound. Steven's in the chat saying, "Kill me." He is not more than a little tilted by this turn of events, I have to imagine. Alright, another mortar setting up, shooting ARC Troopers. Will the ARCs lose another unit to mortar fire? Again, leading off with a crit. Aim, shoot. 2 crits into the ARCs. Finn's shots are unerring! Oh my gosh! 2 blanks on ARC Troopers off a mortar. I would be tilted too. Unreal. Force suppression, both ARC Troopers down. Steven's asking, can I quit now? Quick and dirty. If you really want to, bro. Finn making some slightly off-color jokes. Yeah, hey, what's up, John? Welcome. It's been pretty bad for Stevens. So not only did ISF find an open shot, shoot down 3 ARC Troopers with an 8-hit shot, mortars have now killed 3 ARC Troopers out of the other squad, and that squad is now on 4 suppression. And it looks like white ISF might actually be in range to finish off purple before it even activates. So, I mean, this has just been surgical by Finn. But not only that, he's also getting everything he wants on the dice. Finn just on another level. Yeah, for real, John. Like, losing ARC Troopers to a mortar is such a feels bad. I mean, yeah, that's the long and the short of it. You definitely don't expect your ISF to die like that, but you know, every time you get shot, it's a risk, and that's the trouble of taking these high save units that are expensive. They cannot be exposed for more than a few seconds, because eventually their dice will crack. It's really just a matter of time. That is the trouble with investing in defense. Like whenever you put a unit in a list, you have to think of it as an investment, right? You have 800 points to spend, so to speak, and so you're trying to put points where they'll be the most effective. And so part of the cost of an ARC Trooper is the defense. So having Impervious just native on the unit, having Sharpshooter, and having Tactical, they have just a really good conglomeration of keywords, but it's all in one unit, and that's why it's so expensive. And it can be kind of tough to fit 120 point Special Forces units alongside 90 plus point core units that are, in their own way, kind of masquerading as Special Forces. Right, precisely, Major. That's the other half of it. I mean, it's also a fair point, Ghostwalking. Like, he did kind of leave him there to get shot, rather than like doing a move, shooting, and then moving back this direction to try to get out of vision. But yeah, I mean, he left himself in range of 2 mortars. A Shore T-21 is probably on the way as well. And in fact, that Shore just rallied, so it's going to get even closer to the middle. Raven, you're saying this might be karma for arcs in general. Yeah, I have a sneaking suspicion that forces might be at work. Karmic forces might be at work for playing standby. Alright, T-21 incoming. Let's see if it can kill that last ARC Trooper. Echo's the leader, right? Yeah, he's a leader, so he is going to be the last to be killed. Okay, a crit goes in. Still on a Surge token from their fellow ARC Troopers. And he gets it. But a 5th suppression. There is a possibility that these ARC Troopers can panic next turn. Clones just overwhelmed by the might of the Imperial military machine and the acumen of Finn as their general. I mean, eventually ARC Troopers might find themselves kind of relegated to Rebel Commando status in that you maybe don't take the full team. I still think there's a justification for 1 full team. I think double full team is an overcommit. I would rather go down to 2 teams and then upgrade my Phase 1 with 5s and then take an additional Z6 and then give everybody I can offensive push. I think that's ultimately a stronger play. Just have more beef. Oh wow, so he's exposing both ARC models here? I think that's a mistake. Move and shoot. Yeah, I think exposing your second arc miniature there is an error. But he's gonna go ahead and try to snipe off the leader of that ISF. You know, Pierce is Pierce, and there it is. So one ISF model getting removed here. But the story of the game so far has been these ARC Troopers have taken crazy losses. It's not even the end of one yet. And already out of 10 ARC Trooper models, 6 have been removed. So I'm beginning to seriously question how, at this juncture, can Stevens safely approach the middle. He's going to have to try... If he tries to contest the middle, there's going to be so much angry firepower coming back his way. It's going to be like stirring up a hornet's nest. He also needs to figure out a way... Like, if Echo doesn't panic, he needs to figure out a way to save Echo from elimination. Another thing he should be doing as well. Naked Shores here, just moving and dodging. They're kind of just there to be bodies on point. Now, keep in mind here, Purple is the only squad with Clankers still available. But without that DC-15, I mean, I don't see what they can actually shoot effectively. Plus, if they don't run away, White ISF is threatening to wipe them out. Like on a double move shoot, it could probably get there. Yeah, Clankers and Tactical Strike were the first turn cards, Izzy. Oops. One second. Well, Izzy, I don't know if you're probably just joining in, right? But as you can see, the ARC Troopers have suffered some losses here, including a DC-15. Okay, now Finn is winding up with his ISF. They're going to clamber up with their Ascension Cable and get a free move from Scale. And they can this is actually completely legal because it's lower than the height of the miniature. So they can scale up and do their attack strike move and get up to this point. Now, I don't think that's going to be range 3. So it might be a nothing burger to be on this point up here. Though he could be... yeah, he's just outside. I think what I guess he can move again. So they scale, but they don't... Oh yeah, you keep scale until the end of your activation. Wow. So actually this is crazy because he can double scale here. So he started in contact, scale move, and then move scale down, and then steady shoot. Okay, so it's interesting this clamor movement that's going on here, but I'll tell you it is legal. He clambered up here and then ended in base here and then clambered down, and um because of the way that the bottom of the building flares out a little bit, I think he has extra range off of that, so he is able to get into range 3 of these purple guys. Yeah, this is definitely uniquely the province of ISF with ascension cables. This should be a 3 aim. It should be a 3 aim clankers if he uses O push, or 3 aim tack strike if he uses an offensive push here. And it will be. Is this another open shot? Yeah, it's another open shot. Wow. So I guess light cover, but it's hardly going to matter the number of saves that are going in here. So yeah, he rerolls once and then marksman for 7 into these poor bastards. Yeah, light cover will still cover 1 up, so 6 saves being rolled here. Oh, that's awkward. I guess they granted heavy. Ah, they're dead anyway. Wow. The Ark's not rolling anywhere close to good enough to save their necks. That's a full purple Arc squad eliminated. I think he gifted him heavy cover there, frankly. Like, even with heavy cover, it didn't matter. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty gross we're seeing every single arc strike, or not arc strike, we're seeing every single tack strike move land, and it's also landing well. That's not going to be the case every game, especially not against the saves of, well, I feel like if the saves were operating normally, this would be less of a problem. But yeah, tactical strike is pretty disgusting, not gonna lie. Yeah, so that's a good point, Deco, because you have not only do you have the scale with the extra base with the movement. Yeah, that's what I was saying, Ghost Walking. Like, yeah, okay, that's fair. Only 2 out of 3 landed. But he also had access to the strongest pieces, so he was able to tack strike in the best spot. It's not always the case that you're gonna hit your tack strike on the enemy's best pieces. But yeah, that's fair. Only 2 out of 3 really landed. The second one that went off only did 1 wound. Yeah, but everything else was like that. First one he forced, I think, 8 saves. Second one he forced 5 saves, and the price was a full arc team basically. Right, precisely, Major. The one that missed actually did have a Z6 at risk. Pretty staggering how strong they are, and now you'll have a T21 adding into the mix here. This is still like wrapping up this first turn with this full shore yet to go. And yeah, they're going to put more suppression and possibly more wounds into Echo, trying to force him off the board with panic on the following turn. And wow, Finn unloads with 2 crits off a move shoot. And Echo is going to be alive with 1 wound, but his friend will die. No, Echo should still be on board, man. Yeah, Echo still on board with 1 wound. So hasn't finished the squad off just yet. No access to Surge because their friends were killed. In fact, I think Purple left the board with it. Did Purple leave the board with a Surge token? I didn't see. They may have actually left the board with a Surge token still there. And now Iden getting into the mix. Iden herself has Tax Strike as well. So Iden will also gain Steady and Tactical 1. And she can also use Offensive Push in this instance to get even more crits. She doesn't have a repeater, but she does have her E11 Blaster Rifle, which is going to roll 3 white dice with Pierce 1 and Hit Surge. So she is going to steady once and then attack and probably just go back to safety. But she's going to be able to ping Brown here with steady. And let's see how many she can take down. She should probably just spend 2 aims for a crit, which will pierce 1 trooper. And he will be history. And then Iden can just go back to where she was hiding before. So yeah, it turns out that Empire win rate against Gar may not be so negative anymore. I think during the pre-RRG days, Empire win rate against Gar was just dreadfully low. We're talking like 36%, roughly speaking. It was like in the low, like mid 30s to low 40s, generally speaking. Yeah, hey, what's up, Karma 5? Yeah, this is the first game of the series between Basic Bespin Biths and German Cantina Band. That is the end of the first turn, and what a bloody first turn it's been. Purple ARC Troopers completely annihilated. Echo almost in the same boat with 5 suppression. It is really bad. I don't know if he can save Echo from panic, but both full arcs being eliminated here with very little to show for it on the other side of the board. 1 ISF and 2 short troopers being killed. Tactical Strike absolutely smashing the clones on this opening turn, and now Coordinated Fire comes out for Finn, and he is off to the races with Coordinated Fire and the aim sharing. It's going to get super real in just a few moments here. It's already been pretty real, but it's about to get super real with the aim stacking that can go on from target and Coordinated Fire. Stevens will win priority, but will he use his priority to panic Echo off the board? I think almost at this point he should force the shot into Echo and not wait for the panic, or not cause the panic. I think that would just cause him to lose tempo. John Solo, by the way, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub for 3 months. Massively appreciate that, man. Night Goblin saying, wow, I had to step away for 20 minutes for a work call. I think I missed a lot. Yeah, you missed a lot of ISF killing clones. Red ISF forced 8 saves. Okay, he's going with Echo. Echo rolls 1 suppression and panics. So off the board goes Echo. Oh no. And Stevens is actually, is he calling it? Is he conceding? Wow, this might actually officially be the fastest game. Yeah, I don't think there's any way back after losing both full arc teams to Tactical Strike. I just don't think he can claw his way back into this game. And his morale is just broken. A good game, wow. That is it. Crazy. Let me do a little post-game chat if I can with our players. But German Cantina Band going up 1-0.
It's like the second thing, right? I start on the middle objective with my army, with the recon intel and the infiltrate. That's pretty strong.
Hey, what's up,
You have
guys?
to
Oh, hello.
Oh, Stevens, I'm sorry. Like,
Dude, that was a butt whooping like I have never received in Legion.
it was crazy. Like, the arcs can't save, apparently.
No.
Yeah.
That was like it could have that turn could have just as easily gone the other way. It was really just before we started, I was like, this is gonna be a dice game right here.
Yeah.
Finn created some really interesting shots though that I didn't see. This crap over here. I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah, like no one. I've never seen anybody play Ascension Cable ISF. That was like brand new tech to me.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. You can, like, if you have a perfect building, you can, like, steady shoot and afterwards peekaboo into safety. Like, with the scale. Scale is pretty good with steady.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I feel like I don't even know what Legion is right now.
Well, it's tough to know once now that standby sharing is gone, right? The clones have to just be played completely differently now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not safe from return fire. That's really strange.
That is true.
Man.
And
it's apologize to the viewers for about 30 minutes.
No, I think they're cool. I wouldn't sweat it. Although Deco Puma did just say, "Who needs chess clocks when you have tack strike?" That is kind of true. If it ends games in 30 minutes, who needs a chess clock? No, it's still like I definitely did not expect arcs to just evaporate. The first shot with the ISF forcing 8 saves. It's trapped me before, man. Like these little platforms, they really make the near barricades so much less safe.
Yeah.
You really have to be tied up to a barricade to get cover when you have those little boosting spots. And like, I think the game just generally is going more vertical, like, and that's good because it has some pretty strong vertical terrain rules. But a lot of folks are like, it's too burdensome to go vertical. It's better just to move. And
we used to have grappling hooks and stuff like that, which was still activation inefficient. You're spending an entire turn to scale safely, but with ascension cables and those kinds of all the expert climbers or scale rather, you get a lot more movement up and down.
Yeah, they're transitioning to that, and I really like this fortified position setup too, because you get this like I was telling the chat earlier, Finn, that you have this like this map wide line like all the way through here is heavy now, and it was sort of a way to hook up all these heavy cover pieces into one continuous line that the ISF were able to get forward on immediately and fight from, and just kind of like just steal the board basically and steal center control and just completely deny shelter to the clone army.
Yeah, he definitely came out on top with turn 0 plays. I thought I was doing some safe maneuvering, and it's hard to predict where the ISF can go. It's hard to see all their possibilities.
I'm super reminded of like early Cassian play, like because that would catch me too. Like when Cassian
I would get burned by Cass.
Yeah, you get so burned by infiltrate. Like it's definitely possible, and like ISF are just like that, writ large kind of. I don't know if the chat, if you have any questions, go ahead and just throw them in the chat. Just let me know. But yeah,
yes, this is know how to play clowns. I'll give them a lesson.
I don't know, man. Like Guardian, I don't know. Special attacks are coming out. I don't know.
God.
You can't even Guardian that because of the crits. So
yeah, the worst part is that those were units that I intentionally put situational awareness on, and I just didn't have dodge tokens for them to use.
Yeah, it's too fast, right? They just get everything done in the space of one activation, and you cannot respond to it. There's no interaction. It's literally just, I hope I deployed far enough away. And if you don't, you just die. Like, that's the struggle.
So, to all the people out there that don't think 3-3-3 is good, I suggest they play against Finn. That was oppressive.
I've always maintained that European players are better at Legion than American players, but that's an opinion that gets me some hate.
That's probably true.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. No, I definitely think Europeans just in general they just have more of a tabletop gaming culture than Americans do, so it definitely shows.
Yeah, just not Ellis. Ellis is dog shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoops. Sorry, Ellis. Rip Ellis. Good night. Okay, chat doesn't seem to have any, doesn't seem to be hitting me with any questions, so I'm gonna let you guys go. Thanks.
That's fair. They're probably speechless.
Man. I'm speechless. Holy crap. Okay.
Thanks, Dennis. Thanks for
coming. Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys around. Holy moly. Okay, so that's gonna wrap it up for Stevens versus Finn. ISF kicking the crap out of the clones. Like, this was definitely not close. Yeah, ISF got in there, got some out of cover shots. Mortars were chipping a bunch of crits through, and the ISF just weren't, or the ARC troopers just were not saving against that. And Echo did panic off the board ultimately, and left the clones kind of bereft of a way forward here. Between the short troopers and heavy cover, the ISF moving around and getting the alpha done, they definitely got a successful alpha strike, and they didn't even get the full freight, as Ghostwalking pointed out in the chat earlier. They got 2 out of 3 really landing, but that was all it took because they landed on arguably Steven's most important pieces. So that is going to wrap it up for today's stream. We'll be back tomorrow with another game in the final series between Matten and Zanal. This is going to be, let's see. Matten is going to be playing, I think, Rebels. It's in my Google sheet. Suffice it to say, it's going to be a great game. Both Matten and Zanal are both really good players. But we'll be back tomorrow at sometime in the evening. Let me list my thing. I don't have my schedule right printed in front of me. We're gonna actually no, it's morning. Sorry, it's gonna be early morning actually. 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Matten versus Zanal. Yavin based Team League finals tomorrow, Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Matten on Mandos versus Grievous Maul. Okay, that's gonna be a really cool game because I am curious to see how the Mandos are going to handle Grievous and Maul, whether either of those characters just take a bunch of rockets to the face, or whether Maul gets in there and starts messing with those Mandalorians. Mandalorians are kind of sad once they get engaged, unless they have Beskads, but even with Beskads, I don't know if they can stand up to the might of Maul and Grievous in Melee. Those are two of the like most like dangerous characters in Melee. You've got both of them rocking huge Melee dice pools, like upwards of 8 dice on both Grievous and Maul. And of course, Maul probably is taking Force Choke. So we will see. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. right here on Yavin Base. Thanks again to everybody that tuned in and subbed today. I hope to see you tomorrow at 10 in the morning Eastern Time. And make sure if you didn't catch the stream yesterday, there is a VOD of Huntsman versus Talk Polite. Probably one of the best games that I've cast on this channel. I definitely encourage you all to watch it. And we'll see you later. Ciao.